Happy Tuesday, it's John Potter, Pressfix Director of Player Development. Today we want to talk about uneven lies. So part of the reason you do so much better on the driving range, everybody says, is I'm so much better on the driving range. I really don't play like this when I'm out on the course, it seems to fall apart for a couple of reasons. One, there's zero consequence on the golf course, or on the driving range, excuse me. If you hit a bad one, you pull up another ball. There's no gravity to the score, the situation. There usually aren't hazards out here on the driving range. But second, you have a perfectly flat lie almost every time. You're in the fairway, you get to fluff your lie. So there are a number of reasons the driving range is easier. When you're on the golf course, you get situations. One, there's more gravity to the situation. There's a score. There's hazards. Two, they're uneven lies. So let's look at an uneven lie. Right now, we're going to look at a downhill lie. Okay, so ball's even with the feet, but we're hitting down a hill. Why so often do we chunk or thin this one? Well, if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. To stay balanced, most of you walk around with fairly good balance throughout your lives, daily lives, right? We don't want to walk off balance. We look kind of silly. So we stack our weight vertically on top of our feet. When you walk, you actually have a little bit of a pitch forward. It's like you're constantly catching yourself from falling. But when you're standing vertical, okay? Even when you stand here on a side slope, I'm standing vertical. I'm kind of leaning up the slope. Most of the pressure is on my bottom foot, but I am leaning up the slope. You can see the big bend in my right leg. It's a pretty severe slope. You often don't encounter something quite this severe on the golf course. We're going to do it today. Okay, so you want to lean up the hill. Everybody always wants to lean up the hill. You want to stay balanced. It's not a good feeling to be off balance. So that's why people chunk or thin this, okay? So think about your swing arc and low point. Low point controls contact, the quality of the contact, thin or chunk. If we're going to catch this ball square, solid every time, we want that low point where the ball is. But in an effort to find balance, we lean up the hill, right? And when we lean up the hill, we move the low point back. Now, if I had this type of situation, this lean, I'm vertical here, right? If I had this type of situation, relationship with my body on a flat hill, let's see if I'm still on camera, this would be ridiculous. You would think, okay, if you got to flat ground and got in that position I was just in on the side slope, well, no wonder you chunk or thin. I'm hitting either the ground way back here, or through different lever systems or manipulating or something, I am keeping the club off the ground, but then I'm going to top or thin the golf ball. Okay, so it's here only would make sense then that we lean down the hill or get your spine angle more perpendicular to it. Okay, so the slope is this way. Match the slope with your shoulders. We're going to try to swing down the hill. It's an uneasy feeling. You can't just take this knowledge to the golf course and try it the first time and have success, likely, right? It's going to take some practice because it's very uncomfortable to lean down the hill. Okay, so we're going to lean down the hill. We're going to maintain that spine angle best you can and swing down. Now, you're going to feel like you're going to fall down the hill, and that's okay. We can catch ourselves, hopefully, before we do fall. We're going to try to stay in that spine angle, leaning down and swinging down. Now, if you notice, either of those shots, second one I did a little bit better job, but they come off really low. Why is that? Well, one, we're swinging down the slope. Two, when we tilt forward, I've got a 7-iron here. If I tilt forward, I bring the handle with me. Now look at the loft on the club. It is nothing. It's like a 1-iron. No wonder they go low. So make an adjustment in your club selection. If you are leaning forward, leaning down the hill, you're taking loft off of the club. You need more loft in your hands. So it might be 150 or 75 or whatever you hit your 7-iron. You might pull a 7-iron because you're 150, 175, whatever that number is out, but it's not going to get there. It's going to hit into the ground and come up short because it's launching super low, much, much lower than a 7-iron typically would for you. Maybe you take an 8 or a 9-iron to compensate for that tilt you've just incorporated. That will get that ball to launch a little bit higher. Now, here's another hard one. Ball below your feet. What do? This one's really difficult. Side hill lie. Okay. These often are top thinned, low, kind of shooting off to the right. There's directional misses with the ball below your feet or above your feet for a couple of different reasons. One, everything wants to move down the slope. It's just the way things work. But when the ball's below your feet, the lie angle is usually a little flat. That's why getting clubs properly bent for you is beneficial. Too upright and they tend to go left, too flat and they tend to go to the right. Not only that, but again, balance. We tend not to release the club as well or square the face for those of us that don't have more of a CP pattern or a face square to square. If you are kind of an opening and closing of the face type swinger, we don't have, it's going to be less easy for us to do that when our footing isn't sure, when our balance is off, okay? meaning ball below your feet. If the ball's above your feet, you tend to have more of that tendency, right? In an effort to get balance, we kind of flip it even more. Part of the reason they want to go left if the ball's above your feet. But again, lie, angle, slope, all those things affect shot shape. So we would accommodate. If I'm hitting this way, I might aim just a little bit left, and how much you're going to figure out through practice, okay, and just doing it over and over again. But here, ball below my feet, I am going to get into a little bit more of a squat that tends to put my knees kind of in my way. So it's going to be a little bit less rotational. I'm going to be a little quieter with the lower body. When I don't have the lower body working with me, I don't have the swing speed, I might come up a little short. So again, you might take another club. I'm using the full length of the club to get down to the ball. A little bit of squat here, very quiet in the lower body. It's going to be a little more shoulders and arms kind of lifting. That takes a lot of practice. I find it's a little easier when the ball's above your feet. Okay, here we're just going to grip down on the club, accommodate the length so we don't chunk it or thin it. Okay, again, remember the left bias when the ball's above your feet, but I'm gripping down because the ball now is closer to me. Okay, maybe 4 or 5 inches or so. Uphill, same thing as downhill. And you're going to see my backside here for a second. I'm going to move the camera. You don't have to look at my butt. Hey, how you doing? Up close and personal. I'm going to put you right here. I might have to adjust because now we're really tilted. Okay, if we're hitting uphill, the same and opposite things are going to happen when we hit that downhill shot. I don't want to lean up into the hill and try to swing and stick my club into the ground, right? Because now the ground is up over here, it's going to stick. I want to swing up the slope. I'm going to match the slope with my shoulders or go perpendicular with my spine angle. Okay. Now what happens to the club when I do that? I add a ton of loft. So it's pretty common for if you've got, again, that 150, whatever your 7-iron goes, pull a 7, comes up short. Because the ball now, or the club now, is not a 7, it is a 8 or a 9. Okay. So make that adjustment if you need to the distance. We go a little stronger with your loft. We're going to lean up the slope. We're still going to try to push our weight up the hill, still releasing our body through the shot, trying to maintain spine angle best you can, trying not to manipulate the low point by leaning back or leaning up. We're still going to try to move through it, but maintaining that spine angle so we don't chunk it. Okay, that's a lot. It's threw a ton at you, a bunch of different situations. Best thing you can do is hit a few balls on the range and then take your last half dozen balls. Walk along the side of the range here, at least at Prestwick, wherever you practice is fine. Try to find some uneven lies so when you get in a game situation, you've been there and done that, okay? Good luck on the practice. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Yeah, get out and practice. See you guys.